Hello and welcome to Lesson 9 on manufacture anxiety. This is of course pathological anxiety. We can all suffer some anxiety when we have difficult times in our lives. But there is a big difference between normal anxiety and pathological anxiety. In normal anxiety, we may have some fear response, but it is small as the danger we perceive is a future danger. In pathological anxiety, there is a full-blown fear response, a fight or flight response, because while the idea indicates a future danger, the actual danger is immediate, as a cheat is involved. In this lesson, I'm going to give you another experience of my own, and this time anxiety, but a more basic form of anxiety. In the previous example, the anger was really being used to make the anxiety a lot worse. It becomes clearer once I explain the basic anxiety, which is fear and worry. Anxiety is not about any chemical imbalances in the brain. None have been seen in science anyway. And if we look at the biology, we look at what is happening in the body, we can show what anxiety is all about and why a person can develop heart disease as a result of intense long-term anxiety. Anxiety is fear and worry, and they are not coincident. They repeat successively one after the other. In anxiety, a person does have an issue that has an element of danger. As I mentioned earlier, in normal anxiety, the person's fear is associated with a future danger. Even if that future is fairly immediate, it's not in the present. In pathological anxiety, while the ideas indicate some future danger, there's an actual danger happening in the present. The person is being threatened in the present. So the fear in pathological anxiety is a full-blown fight or flight response because they are perceiving danger. A concealed threat is used to cause the person to feel fear. And I don't know if this is true in every case, but what I have experienced and others around me that I have talked to and tried to help, the danger, the threat that is posed is tied up with the issue that is created, or which is a life issue they have discovered that the person is faced with in their life and is used to trouble the person. The issue is such that the person is going to want to try and work it out, find a solution, resolve whatever the issue is, but each time they think about the issue, they become aware of the danger because the danger is pending. But here again, it is a cheat. The threat that is posed is not aimed to be carried out. It's aimed to influence the person, to cause them the anxiety. In my case, there was the idea that he could get in, or it could get in. It's possible it could get in. And I had no idea what that was about. But I was feeling fear. It felt like there was a real immediate issue. So to try and resolve it, I went and had a look around the house, and it occurred to me to look at the back door. And I found that the back door was unlocked so that anybody from outside could open it. I locked the door, and then either was the next night or the night after, the same thing happened. The back door was unlocked, so again I locked the door. And this happened several times. So I decided that maybe to put a bolt on the door. This didn't prove to be a solution because while the door was locked, the bolt was unlocked, and repeatedly I found it unlocked. This was being done by my late psychopathic husband for the sake of gaining some sort of control over me. And his argument was, well, if it's locked, what are you worrying about the bolt? Obviously, he'd given a key to whoever the criminals were, but it needed the bolt undone to make a threat. So I had to find another solution. Otherwise, the anxiety was going to cause me a lot of problems. In the end, I got a carpenter to build a big, heavy door for my bedroom. And that was the end, then, of the anxiety, at least on that occasion. Now, what I had observed while having the anxiety was that my reactions were twofold. I would perceive the issue of danger that somebody could get in, and my body moved to fight or flight response. And then when I wanted to try and figure it out, I needed to think and resolve whatever it was, understand it and resolve it. My body moved to resting metabolism. But as I started thinking about it, of course, the danger became apparent. And with that perception, my body again moved to fight or flight, high metabolism. Then as I again wanted to try and figure out what it was about, my body moved again to resting metabolism to facilitate thinking and reasoning, because in fight or flight, the cognitive function in the brain is declined to some extent, but enough for you not to be able to think and reason. What I found was that when we desire to think and reason, our body will move to resting metabolism to facilitate thinking and reasoning. And when we perceive danger, our body moves to high metabolism to facilitate our ability to take flight or fight, whatever we require to do. Now, this creates problems for the heart because the body is moving from rest to high metabolism, back to rest, and then again high metabolism, rest, high metabolism, and so on. For high metabolism, the heart is getting signals to go faster, and for resting metabolism, the heart is getting signals to go slower. So the heart is continuously getting signals back and forward, faster, slower, faster, slower. If the anxiety is intense enough and if it extends for a long period of time, then the heart will be affected enough to become ineffective as a pump. Medical scientists talk about heart failure. The heart doesn't fail, it is unable to pump the blood sufficiently around the body for the metabolism to be sustained at whatever is required. So one of the problems that can happen is that the metabolism goes low and stays low, and this is really the nature of depression. Now you see, if anger can be added to the mix using a injustice or a violation, as they had done on me in the previous lesson, then high metabolism is increased to very high metabolism, so that the person is swinging between very high metabolism and resting metabolism in order to think and reason. So the anxiety becomes a lot worse, and I actually felt sick and had flu-like symptoms. If the issue is potentially life-threatening, then you have to somehow resolve it, find a solution. Because even though the threat is not aimed to be carried out, The potential is still there, and that would make it's very difficult not to have a reaction. And in fact, the fight or flight response is already there due to the hidden threat. It can mean that you become very anxious and you want to avoid that. For the other forms of anxiety like PTSD and social anxiety, I will discuss how to deal with them in the next lesson. So I will do a part 2 of this lesson 9.